Figure we give you a shanty to start the season. Ready, boys? Oh, the year is 2026.
How I wish it was Memorial Day now.
Well, it might be cold and it might be snowing, but the boys are out throwing and it's time to get going.
Goddamn baseball. Now it's time we run the field. We pick up ground balls. 10-man ride. Working our clear. Now we're washed up men with college lax gear. The last generation of rats we fear.
For week 0, we have some news.
How I wish it was Memorial Day now.
We have a website, please nobody hack it. Play pick 'em with your friends and make a tournament bracket.
Goddamn baseball. Now it's time we run the field. We pick up ground balls. 10-man ride. Working our clear. Now we're washed up men with college lax gear. The last generation of rats we fear.
Woo! Nailed it. Woo! First try.
Money.
First try. Way to go, boys. That took way too long to write. It was not ChatGPT.
That's pretty impressive.
The creative aspect of ChatGPT is not quite there yet, but it felt good to nail on the first take. And welcome back, fans. Those of you who've been with us for the entire ride, welcome back. For the new folks, welcome. We love doing this. I hope that shows when we're recording here in the studio. Week 0, we might be a little bit cold, might be a little bit stiff, but we got to get loose as fast as possible because the players are coming and season's starting. It's week 0, some great games this week. Today we're going to listen to a few selective call-ins. We didn't open it to the public for time constraint purposes. We have some big announcements, some updates about our LLC, now College Lacrosse Game Day LLC, ladies and gentlemen, whatever that means.
That means limited liability company.
Yes.
So don't sue us.
Don't sue us, even if we cross the line. But no, we're going to catch up, talk about what's happened in the offseason with ourselves and the sport of lacrosse. We're going to go through some games coming up this week and tell you a little bit about what I referred to in that song, College Lacrosse Game Day Pick'em. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to gamify this thing. We're going to play with you and collaborate. We'll announce kind of everything we're doing. First, I just want to catch up. Michael, we'll start with you because you're in New Jersey. I guess we should introduce ourselves first. Mike, why don't you go first?
Yeah, sure. The guy who is not in the HQ, the bald 26-year-old in his basement in New Jersey, that would be Mike Christensen, back for year 3. Very excited. Should I do an update as well, Dan?
An update on what?
On life.
On life, yeah.
This is what it's about.
Yeah, give us something.
For any listeners watching, you already heard me mention it. No, this is not a filter. I am a bald man at 26.
Cue ball.
It looks great.
I think I look pretty good, but that is new. And then I also just moved upstate. Spent 5 years up there at Hobart, so very used to it. It has been a little crushing with the snow, but all good. I'll be half in New Jersey and half in Syracuse for the podcast. You'll see a lot of change of scenery from me.
New homeowner, Michael Christensen, and man, you look as handsome as ever. I know a lot of people who could not pull that off, and you have a beautifully shaped head, so you look good, man. Seriously. Brett.
It's a nice, beautiful shone off of the forehead.
It is. It's gleaming.
It's glamorous.
Bright down here.
Brett. What's up, Brett? How we doing?
Good. I've been very busy in the off season working with all these guys. We have a couple new team members that have joined us as well, so I'm sure there'll be another announcement. But I just felt like we needed to hit the ground running. I think what we have here is good. I want to get it out to more people and start to work on some other stuff with the show. But life is good. We're going to keep moving forward, keep getting more listeners, more action, and keep giving people what they want to hear. So that's been my mission, and just continuing to improve, our content and our exposure. So excited to see what we're going to do this year, and thank you all for continuing to ride with us and reach back out and send us stuff.
Yeah. Hair update too. I think we talked about Mike's head, but Brett's got a mustache now. It's pretty thick, as thick as I've ever seen it. It's starting to flare up on the sides. Is that going to be with us all year?
I think while it's cold, it will be here. As we move into the summer, I don't want to have a heat flash when I'm up here. So we'll see. But as of right now, the lip candy's staying.
I hope you stay as warm as your upper lip all season long. Hayden, what's up, dude?
Not too much. Not many changes in my life. Still loving Lax, still coaching, still living here, still doing the podcast. Not much has changed. Haven't gotten a haircut or anything like that. So we're still good. And I will say, Brett has been putting on a lot of work in the off season. Dan and I have been trying to help out. We're helpful at times, useless most of the time, but we got a ton of exciting updates, new partners, new ideas to kind of refresh this thing in season 3, and we're looking forward to get going with it.
Or some would consider it revolutionary for the sport. So
yep.
Yeah, no, thanks for the update, Hades. Myself, my name's Dan. If you're new, played at Hobart with Mike. These guys all play lacrosse. Hayden played at Union. Brett played at St. Lawrence. So the 3 of us live together. If you're watching, me, Brett, and Hayden. Mike is out in New Jersey. We're calling this our senior year here in this apartment in Brighton, Massachusetts. It's been a complete joy. We've had 3.5 years of lots of fun, gatherings, parties, you name it. So we're going to enjoy our last season in this spot, hopefully somewhere beautiful next time around, but we're going to enjoy every second of this last season. So it's good catching up. I think there's a lot of updates we kind of need to talk about in the lacrosse sphere, and we don't want to bore you with what there's only so many things you guys can talk about, or anyone in lacrosse media can talk about during the off season, right? There's transfers, there's coaching updates, and we need to realize a lot of our listening base doesn't consume lacrosse media regularly. Personally, I haven't read a single lacrosse blog in the last 9 months. So some people are going to hit pause and go listen to something else right now. I think you should stay with us because we're going to have a great time, but we're going to update you on the things we think you need to know. Excuse me, frog in my throat. It's week 0. Forgive me. Go through some coaching changes, transfer stuff, give you some takes on what we think you should be looking out for this year, maybe some futures around who we think's going to bring it home this year, either a Tewaaraton trophy, a national championship, conference titles. But let's start with, you want to start with coaches or should we go transfers?
Yeah, let's start with coaches. We'll have coaches and transfers, but I think it's good just everybody kind of get, a better sense of the landscape in college lacrosse. A lot of it's the same, but there's some major changes. So Mike, I don't know if you want to start with the coaching changes.
I'll start with the head coaching changes. There were 8 this offseason, and interestingly enough, only 2 of them swapped within those 8 schools. Most are brand new coaches. A lot in the A10, obviously. For people who have been listening for the past 2 years, I am a massive A10 fan, so it's going to be very interesting this year. St. Bonaventure got Brennan Storier from Limestone. For those who don't know, Limestone closed their doors this year, and he was
really?
Yeah. The entire, I don't know if it was the entire. I think it was the entire school, not just athletics. But he went 66-13. They're very successful, 4 straight playoff appearances. So hopefully you can bring that to St. Bonaventure. Hobart. Obviously, me and Dan, very close to the program. Coach Raymond, stepping down from the program, did great things there. And then we promoted internally with Stephen Brundage, our OC. We expect big things from him. We'll definitely be keeping an eye.
Let's go, Coach.
St. Joe's and Penn were probably, I'll hit them both in a row, were probably the 2 biggest storylines with the coaching changes, with Coach Ray from St. Joe's going to Penn. I'm sure he will do great things there. He did great things at St. Joe's, as we all know. And St. Joe's, same as Hobart, promoted their offensive coordinator to head coach, Scott Meehan. UMass was interesting as well, again, staying in the A10. Their head coach, who I should have written down, can't remember off the top of my head, retired after 33 seasons.
Canella,
33 years, which is insane. Brought them to a national championship in 2006, I believe.
Wow.
So
he did lose his last game. He lost his last game to Hobart. Just wanted to throw that out there. Congrats, Coach. Great career, but you lost to Hobart in your last game.
That's right.
So.
But
actually, they made the tournament. Whatever. Continue.
Kind of in the NFL side of things, a lot of offensive-minded coaches being promoted. Another OC within UMass, Kyle Smith, being promoted to head coach. VMI, Taylor Mendoza, coming over from Washington and Lee University, pretty close to where they are. And he was actually the associate head coach and defensive coach. I feel like that's a pretty big step up. So we'll see how VMI does this year. Siena, very, very sad story this year. But, I mean, I feel like that's very well written. Don't have to stay on that one too much. Tragic loss. of Liam Gleason. But Tim Cox, who was also the OC, was promoted to head coach. Again, a lot of OCs being promoted to head coach, and Siena had a really good offense last year, so probably will stay on that track. And then last but not least, Hampton hired Vincent Culpepper, who was the assistant coach there for 2 years. Prior to that, he was director of lacrosse operations at UNC, which I think is very interesting for only 1 year. So we'll see what Hampton gets up to this year. Hopefully a little bit more competitive. But those are the 8 new coaches in the D1 landscape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Nice, Mike. I think there's a couple assistant coach switches or promotions or whatnot that also should be mentioned. Just real quickly, Mike Daly went to Stony Brook. Mike, I know you tweeted about that. That's a great get for Stony Brook. He was previously at Maryland, and seemingly anything he touches turns to gold. Another notable one for BU, Mike Morgan, the former Merrimack head coach, is now an assistant at BU. He's a great coach. Liam Entenmann is now at Michigan as an assistant coach, which is interesting. Former player, Notre Dame, very recently, and obviously great player in the PLL now. He's going to have an impact on that program. Matt Nunes, similarly, the goalie for Virginia the last couple of years, is now at Fairfield as an assistant coach. And there's been a lot of reports throughout the fall and scrimmages that he's making a big impact on the sidelines. So be interesting to see how he kind of improves that Fairfield program that's on a good run as of last year. A couple other smaller ones. Connor Whipple, RIT assistant, is now at Richmond. Great coach at RIT. Hobart, along with Brundage, also got Mike Abbott, the former Penn offensive coordinator, which is a big get for them. He was a big hire, so I think the Hobart offense could be buzzing this year. Connor Schellenberger returns to UVA, so he's on the sideline now with Lars Tiffany, which is, again, just another great player on a sideline. It can only help a program, and Virginia certainly needs that. Last one, and I think this might be the most notable assistant coach change, is Justin Ward, the former Army offensive coordinator, is now at Loyola as the offensive coordinator. And Justin Ward, in my opinion, was a top 5 coordinator last year. He's an unbelievable coach, just knows how to coach his guys, and just is really good at teaching offensive players how to dodge, how to shoot, how to score. I think he's going to make a big impact at Loyola. I could see him being a future head coach whenever that is. And again, early reports out of Loyola is that they're going to be a force in the Patriot League this year. So excited to see what Justin Ward does, and all these other assistants is a handful of other coaching switches and promotions and different positions, as there always is. But those are a couple notable ones that I think are going to have some big impacts on the programs that these guys are going to.
Yeah, and if we didn't talk about you there, make us talk about you.
Right.
Put your name in our mouth. That's well done, both of you guys. I thought that was a great rundown. Some times where I'm sure both of you guys want to jump in and say, that's a good hire. I like that. Anything you're most excited about from that kind of list of coaching changes? I mean, I'm fired up for Coach Brundage at Hobart. I think he's going to do great things, great man, and he's got a great staff, great hire. And Coach Abbott, Luke Stout's their third assistant, Hopkins, former Hopkins goaltender. So fired up for the Statesman, obviously. Away from our alma maters, what do you guys like?
I mean, I think the biggest coaching change this year was Taylor Ray to Penn. So Taylor Ray's been at St. Joe's for the last couple of years. You guys played against him. He's done a lot with St. Joe's, has brought them to the NCAA tournament multiple times, has won the A10 and the NEC or whatever conference they've been playing in. And that was a big time hire by Penn. That was kind of the one coaching change in the offseason that it really felt like the athletic department at Penn, wasn't happy with the results of the team the last couple of years and made a decision, we need to get a guy in here who's going to really boost this program up.
Well, St. Joe's had beat Penn the last 2 years, and Coach Ray probably didn't have to move.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, St. Joe's is in Philadelphia, so he's probably in the same house. Celebrated the same Christmas he has for the last few years. Nothing changed. Just his employer. And
to me, that's exciting. Like, Mike Morgan was previously at Penn, Mike Murphy. And, he was there for a long time, almost 2 decades. And, he had some success with teams, but I think the last couple of years have been underwhelming for them. And, to me as a fan, it's a nice sign when an athletic department has expectations for the lacrosse program. Mike Murphy was a great guy, a great coach. A lot of guys loved him, but they weren't winning, and they weren't winning Ivy League championships. They weren't going to the NCAA tournament, at least in the last couple of years. And I think it's exciting to see that there's, some change going on, where there's some real care from these athletic departments to say, hey, even though this guy is a great guy and a great coach, we need better results. And I think Taylor Ray's going to do that for Penn. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Mike, what do you like?
I'm going to go quick because, unfortunately, Dan, I had the same exact opinion as Hayden.
Good minds.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Murphy, 16 years at Penn. They have their culture instilled right. They were pretty tough. But, me and Dan played Taylor Ray. He won 2 championships with St. Joe's, 54-23. One of those championships against me and Dan at St. Joe's. What I'm most excited to see is how quickly he instills that, St. Joe's play style and culture, which is why they were so successful. Obviously the talent as well, but I'm excited to see how quickly they buy into that, because if they buy into it quick, Penn's going to be a good team.
Wait, I'm glad you brought up the coordinator changes too, Aiden, because I think, you look at what's happened, I compare it to the NFL a little bit. A good coordinator is so crucial on so many levels for these programs when it comes to not only the schematics and how you're playing offense and how you're playing defense, but the DNA of a team, your culture, and I haven't even said recruiting. That's the biggest thing. These guys are on the road as much as their head coaches, finding talent, meeting people, facing the place. It is almost as crucial as a head coach hire to get a solid coordinator who knows how to run a good program. The Mike Daly one comes to mind. I mean, shoot, he's at Stony Brook. Who knows what they could do this year? I think that's a tremendous hire. He's eager to have more of an impact. I know he was kind of the third assistant for Maryland last year, I believe.
Yep.
What was his title? Director of Player Development. What a title. But now he's a coach again, an assistant coach, an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator?
Assistant coach.
He's a defensive coordinator.
Okay.
It's really funny how that comes full circle, just talking about him and that position, and now he's like, all right, it's come to reality.
Yeah.
He's coaching.
Coach, I'd love to have you in the show if you're listening. Eventually you will be.
Yeah, I guess
he liked the tweet, Dan.
Well, let's go. The Twitter.
Did he?
Let's go. Reach out to Mike Daly.
Friend of the program.
Follow us on X.
Friend of the program.
At Lacrosse Game Day.
Yeah, I guess kind of going in another direction here, and just kind of talking about the landscape of college lacrosse. I think the way that college sports are trending. You look at college football and some of these other bigger sports, and there's such a desire from these athletic departments to win. Right, I'm talking Power 5 football, and you see at the end of the year, right, there's huge turnover from coaches. Yeah. Right, every year there's coaches leaving programs or getting fired, signing new deals, getting paid more to go to different programs, whatever. Right. And we haven't really seen that in college lacrosse. And I think as a sport, tries to keep up with how the NCAA is changing, with football and basketball, I think we're going to see a little bit more of these decisions at the end of the year where, if programs aren't competing, right, there's going to be openings at head coaching positions. Yeah. And I think I think as a fan, that's great. And I think I'm really hoping this year, 2026 is the beginning of the year of the hot seat for some of these coaches. And look, no one deserves to get fired, but sometimes if a school really cares about their program, right, that's exciting as a fan. That's exciting to know that people care and that these decisions need to be made. So I'm hoping that some of these programs are held a little more accountable going forward, and there is a little more turnover. I think it's just fun to follow.
There's pressure for sure. I think about being a head coach of one of these, for instance, the position Coach Raymond was in at Hobart. He decided to step down, and shoot, you think about what's happened the last couple of years there. Unfortunately, a couple seasons he probably wasn't as happy with as he would have liked to be. Still changing lives and doing excellent things for countless young men, but you imagine the pressure from an alumni network of people who, care so deeply about what you do. And there's one thing that annoys me about youth sports nowadays. And I guess more so as kids get older and they're playing more competitive sports. This is lacrosse, this is football, this is basketball, whatever. At the highest level, there's no politics. I really don't think there's politics. I don't think there should be. I don't think there is, because I think these guys have a job and they're trying to keep it. They know how much winning games means to their school, to their alumni, to all these people. So when people are like, oh, the coach, I don't know, he's politics, he likes this kid. Like, no, he's a job. He cares deeply about what he's trying to do and the success of his school, the success of his team, making alumni proud, a lot of which who these coaches know personally. I don't know. That might be an odd take for this podcast, but I just don't think that I don't think politics is a thing. And I think you're right, Hayden. I think pressure for the people who do have these jobs. Shoot, there's 72 jobs, 72 Division I head coaching jobs. And that is what an honor to have that position.
Yep.
It should be stressful, right? It should be difficult. It should be, it should not be easy, nor should the people who take pride and, let's be honest, donate to that program. They should not settle, because we want the best product. And if the only schools who have that level of pride are the Dukes, the Syracuses, the Notre Dames of the world, the sport's going to stay how it is, but we want it to grow. I want it in Indiana. We'll get to our Collins. Maybe that's a tease, but
yep.
Who's the next Indiana of college lacrosse? Don't answer that now. We'll wait, but I'm interested in that. Do we want to talk about transfers quick? Maybe some of your favorites, some of the big ones.
Yeah, I think we can run through these really quickly. The thing with transfers, like, I think we kind of learned this the last couple of years, like, big names go to big schools, and most of the time they pan out and get on the field, but sometimes they don't. So it's kind of hard to tell. There are a couple guys and teams who I think, really did well in the transfer portal. Number one is Maryland, right? They got Leo Johnson and Chris Lyons from Yale, the two attackmen. Those were two of the hottest guys in the portal. It'll be interesting to see how they get on the field, but Maryland also got Henry Dodge, a game changer at the Faceoff X, and they're going to be loaded this year. Georgetown got the Connor brothers from Colgate, Liam Connor and Rory Connor. Liam Connor was probably the most sought-after transfer just because he's a junior. He has a couple years to acclimate to a program, and he's a guy who can step in immediately and play. Ohio State did pretty well, getting a couple of Yale guys, Jake Cohen, Logan Solberg, Brad Sharp, all guys who contributed at Yale. Duke did okay, getting Thomas Menke and Kyle Colsey from Virginia. Menke's a very experienced player. Colsey's a young kid who's a stud, highly recruited out of high school and got on the field last year for Virginia. So he's going to make a difference at Duke. Penn State got a Hobart kid, John Jude Considine,
JJ,
who was a stud last year at Hobart. So that's positive for Penn State, who's going to have a good year, I have a feeling. Notre Dame got Josh Yago, attackman from Air Force, who's a stud. I think he's going to play right away at Notre Dame, along with a couple other guys who are going to contribute. Michigan did pretty well, getting some Georgetown guys and some Princeton guys. And then I think one transfer I'm really excited to watch is Charlie Pope at UNC. He was a midi for UVM. He was a stud last year. He got hurt, but he dominated the American East when he was playing. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in with that UNC offense. But again, those are kind of some of the big names. There's tons of transfers, guys who are plug and play guys. There's guys who are going to take wings on faceoff, guys who are going to be man up, man down specialists, right? There's all these guys moving around. And I think the transfer portal is just as active as it's ever been. So a couple names to keep an eye out for, but we're not going to know their true impact until midway through the season, probably.
Absolutely. Mike, any transfer talk you want to address?
Nothing specific besides it's so funny when we talk about this. It just always seems like the Ivy League gets fleeced. It's just like Yale, everywhere, and they're like the top transfers.
Yeah,
Princeton, right. Whatever, every year. I will say, like in years past, with COVID years still in effect and fifth years kind of everywhere, that's dying down a little bit, and I think you're really starting to see like these programs be a little more homegrown.
the top programs are always going to get some studs from lower level schools, but I think for the most part, like, things are kind of going back to how they were 4 or 5 years ago when, the guys you recruited are the guys playing for you. So I think that's going to kind of add to the parity. This might be the last year or two where transfers are really going to have a big impact, but I do think it's on the decline.
Well,
You might disagree with me.
I disagree.
Or people aren't going to Ivies. Correct.
Some of them are. I think the Hobart kid, Patterson.
One.
Yeah. Went to Penn.
Yeah, it's a little more.
Do you
rare
think
of an
it's the pay
occurrence.
dynamic and the everything to do with NIL?
I think it's the graduate program. I think they're
Sure, like no fifth year.
Yeah, you can't. There's no graduate students at Ivy League schools who are playing. You can fact check me. I don't think there are.
But
whereas
I also feel, yes, COVID, those years of eligibility are gone, but now it's just more the norm to transfer, especially like you mentioned earlier, big time football, basketball. It just feels more. It's not like, I feel like before COVID, if kids were transferring like they are, it would be like a big deal, probably a no, and you would get shunned for it. Nowadays, it's normal to transfer. And my one thought was with Colgate. The Connor brothers, they're brothers, they're going together. But a few other guys transferred out too, and they had a good year last year and kept their coach. So that was kind of a red flag for me for Colgate. I don't know why all those kids are transferring. Personally,
Right.
it's
I know
not for
Aiden
eligibility.
Murnane. He was a defenseman for Colgate. He's at Virginia now. Quinn Fitzsimmons, another D guy, is at Hopkins. So yeah, I think it does tell a little story of like the program and what these guys really see, and maybe they a program like Colgate, like they have one of the best teams they've had in years. They get a taste of the NCAA tournament, and it's like, man, like I want to do that again, and it's going to be hard to do that at Colgate. I can go do that at Hopkins or Virginia, but maybe that's some of it.
I wonder what the coaches are saying too, because as a coach, you kind of have this, I want to win. I want you on my team. I recruited you, but you also want what's best for the kid. And it's just like, do you take a position of like, yeah, no, I'm happy for you. I'll write a recommendation. I'll talk to the coach, whatever. Or do you kind of play the other side of it? Like, why would you do that? Why would you want to go leave and play for another school? We can offer you a great education. We can offer all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't like,
Right.
I haven't been in the room for that conversation, thank goodness, but it's, I wonder what their parents are telling them something, their coach is telling them something, they're thinking another thing, the other coach of the program who wants them is telling them something. You never know the full story, and it's tough or easy to pontificate on a podcast about it, but I don't know.
Yeah, you wonder how much like under the table stuff there is, or how much poaching there is going on. Is the Hopkins coach texting this Colgate kid midway through the season saying, "Hey, we really want you next year"? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. What was the Dabo Sweeney thing? So you sent did you hear about that, Mike?
Yeah, Dabo Sweeney was all pissed at Pete Golding, the Ole Miss coach, for recruiting his kids, which is fair. Like that's against
But didn't he
the
do
rules.
something? Didn't he take a picture of like a $100 bill or like?
I think
he
like
was
sent
texting
the
outside
kid
of a window, outside of the transfer window, and he was like, really, he was like, the kid was like, I'm staying here, and he kept texting him higher and higher offers.
Yeah,
I
I think he sent him. I think he sent him a picture of like $1 million contract.
Oh my gosh,
or something like that. So
Oh my
that's
god.
probably
What a
not
move.
going on.
What a power
but,
move.
Love
not to
God
steal
knows
the
what he
transfers, but I just remember this that we didn't talk about. Russell Melendez from Hopkins going to Ohio State
That's a good one.
in conference, and I'm pretty sure Hopkins fought for him to get an extra year of eligibility, and then he transferred to Ohio State.
Yeah, that is an
So
interesting one. That's a good one, Mike.
That's like like you said, poaching, and that came right to my mind. What was he told to leave Hopkins and go to Ohio State?
We got to watch that game.
Maybe they just lost belief in him. Maybe he was just up and down, injuries. Maybe he just was like, screw you guys, I'm out of here.
From the way it was,
Who knows?
I saw it was reported was that Hopkins fought for him to get the other extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
Money.
I mean, first thing
No,
comes to
maybe
mind
that's
for me
not true.
is I think of money. Ohio State's got unlimited. I don't know about Hopkins. I know they have some
Resources.
powerful alumni, but reminder to like and follow the podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X as well. Mike runs our X, Twitter, X. I think we're at College Lacrosse Game Day for everything besides Twitter. We're at Lacrosse Game Day. If you give a crap, you might not. You might not care. You might be listening because you're my mom and I love you, but it doesn't matter. Next segment, Hack of the Week presented by Hackies. Brett's going to talk a little bit about the partnership, but if you are a religious listener, you know that we did Nail Gun of the Week last year. We're changing the name to Hackies Hack of the Week. It's a fun play on words that we're excited to collaborate on. Just one thing about Hackies before you talk about this. We got Hackies last year. We talked about him on the show. He sent us, Charlie from Hackies sent us 4 Hackies lacrosse sticks. I mean, we played with these things on the beach and we couldn't stop. It was a blast. The game we played was just all quick sticks. So you stay in a box. It's kind of eliminator. Think like taps when you're in the pool, right? Just 4 guys. You're playing catch eliminator. It's all quick sticks though. Our rule was if you could touch it, you can catch it. And there were some arguments about that, but it was all quick sticks. You can't cradle, no cradles. And Hayden probably won the most when we played, but we played for hours on end.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
That'd be my guess.
It's a great game.
Yeah,
we might need to do a demo one day.
And we played a game too. And we played a game. We did a 2-on-2. We made the beach chair a goal, so the back of the beach chair was the goal. I mean, besides a couple of mishaps, no injuries because these things are made of padding. You can hit each other. Nothing happens. We love these guys
over there.
They got a great thing going. You want to talk about our partnership this year with them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we saw a lot of positive traction with them last year. I think we had an ad run with them, which was really successful. It kind of showed, when we were young growing up, just how big of an impact Hackies would have made on us. So I think we share a lot of the same core values. They were excited to start working with us this year with a little bit more intent. So this Hack of the Week segment, we know, looking through Inside Lacrosse and other things, it's always like, who's the player of the week? It's probably CJ Kurse or Joey Spallina, but it's never that sort of gritty guy, which we kind of brought in through the Nail Gun of the Week. So it's our idea to sort of work together as a brand, identify maybe 3 or 4 candidates every week, allow our audience, our Instagram followers to vote on that on their page, on ours. Then we come back and announce it. And then Hackies will be giving away a hat, a piece of merch on a week-to-week basis to that individual in hopes that we can start building a community with the NCAA lacrosse players, getting them aware of Hackies and showing that it's not just for kids. It's also for adults.
It is.
And we fucking love it. So
we do.
We want other people to feel the same way.
Brett gets the first swear.
Yep.
First swear of the season. At plus, I think he was plus what? Plus 400 for that one to hit.
Passion.
Well done. My preseason hack of the year, Billy Dwan. I mean, we watched him a lot last year. Syracuse defender. I think I said he throws the lumber in my little lax dad skit, and he does. He is a bully. He is a hack. By definition, he's a hack. He's a great player, but he's mean. You love him if he's on your team. You hate him if he's against you. We're going to watch, the TV schedule came out, a lot of Syracuse to no one's surprise. So we're going to watch a lot of Billy Dwan this year. He's my preseason hack of the year. Mike, a lot of names we can talk about. What are some that come to mind for preseason hack of the year?
Yeah, a few that we will definitely be talking about this year. I'll start with Ty Banks of Georgetown. Surprisingly, only a junior. Elite cover man, Canadian, great stick skills. He's good in transition as well. Will definitely be a reason why Georgetown is very good this year, or at least has high expectations. Hunter Smith, who I talked about a lot last year from Richmond, he will play a pivotal role in Richmond's success if they're gonna be a top 10 team like every single media outlet has them predicted preseason. He is another elite coverman. And then you can see the pattern I'm going here. Lastly, Charlie Johnson from Duke, another elite coverman, somebody I had no idea anything about until last year. Watched a few Duke games, and he's just impressive, very, very physical on the ball and fun to watch.
Hey, and I know you're an offensive coordinator on this show, but who's your hack?
You got to like Richard Checo at Lehigh. He's a stud. He's, a couple caused turnovers away from setting the NCAA record. Quentin Kilrain is another guy I love from Hopkins. He's kind of an offensive-minded LSM, right? He can score, run the field, but he's also a great on-ball and off-ball guy. I could see him being a first or second team guy this year. I also like Julian Radicic, guy from Fairfield, LSM, close D, wherever he wants to play. We talked about him a lot last year. He's just a behemoth. He wreaks havoc on the field. So those are some guys, they play between the blue lines a little bit more. But, they're prone to causing turnovers and also scoring. So a couple guys I'm keeping an eye on for.
It's going to be a lot of hacks this year. I think there's, a great opportunity for us to really talk about the nuance of the game by introducing defensive names to America and making them household names as well as the Spalinas of the world. We love you, Joey.
If you go on any Inside Lacrosse post, Lacrosse Network post, who's player of the week, everyone in the comments is like, who's a defenseman? Who's a goalie? And we heard it was Hackey's idea. Charlie came to the table with it, and we're going to execute it for you guys.
We sure are. Hack of the week. Stay involved for that section of the show every single week. Next segment, Collins. We were selective this week, and if we didn't approach you, we apologize. We got a couple of professional ones, a couple of jokesters who called in. Hopefully, get a kick out of the serious and not so serious ones that we listen to.
First call's going to come from our buddy Eric Holden, huge friend of the program. Might see Eric get involved more this year, but he's big on the Big Ten. So his first call is about the Big Ten.
What's up, fellas? This is Eric calling in. Pumped you guys are back. Can't wait to start listening every week. I was curious on your guys' take on some thoughts I had between the parallels of Big Ten football and Big Ten lacrosse. Watching Indiana's incredible national championship run this year with their, veteran machine-like offense, I can't help but thinking about watching Maryland play lacrosse. Thinking about Ohio State's extremely physical, disciplined defense. Like, it looks a lot like their lacrosse team. And then if we think about how much parity there is in the league, Penn State had a down year. They almost knocked off Indiana, the national champs. It's just like how in lacrosse, Rutgers can go out and beat the top team, or Michigan can go on and win the Big Ten. These games are chess matches, and it prepares them so well for success in the postseason. I'm wondering if, as we see some of this football money start to benefit these lacrosse programs, is Big Ten lacrosse only a few years behind Big Ten football?
Gut reaction. It's tough to make Indiana comparisons, and I think that speaks to how amazing what Indiana just did. Really is.
Yeah.
But maybe we can drive some. I don't know. That's an interesting take. It's a great start to Collins, and thank you, Eric. He'll be a big part of the show.
I mean, I fully agree with Eric that the Big Ten's a gauntlet, and I think there is parity. Like, I feel like there's always parity, but I would agree that even more so this year, with Ohio State and Maryland being two top 10 teams, no question, and then Penn State always floating around, and like they're just well coached and can beat anybody, and then Hopkins, who I think like it actually might be their year this year, like anybody could win it. Like, I think Rutgers is a long shot, but still, like, they hit the transfer portal hard. They have some studs. Like, they can beat anybody. So, like, I don't know. I feel like we're always between the ACC and the Big Ten of like what's the most competitive conference. Like, again, this year I think it's neck and neck. I think there is a little more parity in the Big Ten. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like the next Indiana, like, I don't know if the next Indiana comparison for college lacrosse is in the Big Ten, but I think there are some programs, like Richmond, who could maybe go and win a national championship. But I'm trying to think like programs that have like really been on the back burner for the last, decade. Because like Richmond was, almost went to the Final Four last year. It's not like they're, a huge underdog this year.
So I talked to Eric after the call-in. He said, if Kerwin wins a national championship at Dartmouth in 2 years, that'll compare to what Indiana did, which just speaks to how amazing Indiana's run has been.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine Dartmouth wins a national championship next year?
That'd be so cool.
That would be a good comparison, actually.
I would compare it in the sense of, and Eric mentioned Maryland. Maryland can't compare, obviously, with Indiana because Indiana was historically bad at football and then got really good. I mean, Maryland's been in the championship 9 times in the last 15 years. But what you could compare it to is team structure in the transfer portal. It literally looks like John Tillman and Kurt Cignetti have the same blueprint as far as how they build their rosters. Mm-hmm. Maryland's had the number 1 transfer class the last 2 years. And just like if anyone really follows football, I love Kurt Cignetti. I'm a James Madison football fan. Obviously, he coached there for a very long time. He mentioned how when he goes in the transfer portal, he looks for guys who have started a minimum of 3 years. They've been in leadership roles. They're high character guys, obviously talented. But those are the big 3 things. And when you look at what Maryland has done the past 2 years, they've brought in guys who have started multiple years, most likely in leadership roles, and probably fit the character and culture that Tillman has so successfully built at Maryland. And I literally looked at the transfers he took in. You already mentioned basically all of them, Hayden, but Mikey Alexander from Yale, he's a grad transfer, 4-year starter at Yale, first and second team All-Ivy. Henry Dodge, who you mentioned from Vermont, he's a senior, 3-year starter at Vermont. Trey Fleece, who I actually didn't know about, from UMBC, a midi from UMBC, 3-year starter. Leo Johnson from Yale, grad, 3-year starter, second team and honorable mention Ivy. And then lastly, Chris Lyons from Yale. He's a grad, 3-year starter, All-American and second team All-Ivy. It's literally the same blueprint. And that is how I compare it. And that is why I believe also Maryland's going to win national championship. But we could talk about that another day.
I love it.
Yeah, no, that's a great take.
Gosh, Mike is in mid-season form. That was so good.
Yeah, and like another thing is like, I don't know, with Indiana, like they had the oldest roster in college football. Like their average age per player was the top in the country. And I think, that's something that I think a lot of coaches, especially Tillman, look out for. Like they want experienced 4-year, 5-year guys who have been playing for that long. Like having that experience is invaluable. Like no matter how highly touted you were out of college, out of high school, or like what you did freshman year, like it doesn't matter. Like if you have been on the field for 4 years or 3 years and you've been a captain at a program, like you know what you're doing, So like having a team full of those guys is scary, especially when they're coached by John Tillman.
But don't you love the freshman phenom? Like I feel like Indiana didn't really have that, It wasn't like, oh, this kid's a freshman, he's sick. Maybe I don't know. I watched Indiana not religiously, but maybe they did have someone like that. But you missed like the, true freshman quarterback playing in the Rose, like, those. I don't know. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, and there's like teams like that. Like UNC is going to have a couple freshmen that are going to play. Like Maryland's probably going to have a couple freshmen. Virginia's going to have some freshmen. Like all these teams have, some of the best kids coming out of high school last year, and like those kids are going to see the field, and those are like the electric guys, where it's like you kind of, see them as a freshman and you dream about what they're going to do as a senior.
That's all I dream about.
Definitely.
Next call.
Next one's pretty brief. It's from our guy, Dean. Dean's calling in about who. We'll get a quick take and a quick reaction.
Dean Mitty back here. Q's doesn't lose in the dome. I'll see y'all mid-March.
That's it. Q's doesn't lose in the dome. They got BU this weekend?
Yep.
Yeah.
In the dome.
BU's a good test.
It
but
is.
I don't know. I will say Syracuse is loaded this year. Like we thought they were loaded last year. Like they're as good as they've ever been with Coach Gate. We haven't really talked about them much because I think it's a lot of the same faces that have been there the last couple of years. Spallina, Michael Leo, Luke Roa, Trey Deer just got injured, but there's a ton of guys.
Face off, defense, Figueres,
John Mullen,
goalie, McCool's back.
Yeah. They're going to be loaded, and they're going to be fun to watch. And I kind of agree with Dean that they're probably not going to lose in the dome for a long time. I haven't looked at their schedule, so I don't know, but it's my gut instinct.
I hope that's a close game, but as I've said on this podcast many times, and Dan has said, playing the dome is not easy, especially for a season opener. And I don't know if BU's ever played in the dome. Definitely nobody on that roster has. So that's going to be tough.
It's a great
Yeah.
point. Different.
BU though has Timmy Shanahan.
They do.
He's a sophomore. I think he was a Patriot League Freshman of the Year last year. Stud, absolute stud. He's like Chris Gray, like what Chris Gray was his first 2 years at BU. Hopefully he stays at BU for a while, but he is an absolute stud and a game changer.
Timmy Shanahan, name to keep an eye on.
Sounds like a good guy. Is he a Boston guy?
Yeah,
Connecticut guy.
New England.
Close.
Shanahan,
New England guy.
get the ball to Shanahan, would you?
Come on, Shanny.
Come on, Shanny. Put it in the back of the net. All right, next call.
Excellent. Next call, we got our boy J Rock. J Rock's calling in about a line that he likes, but also just an update on life. We love hearing from him.
Hey, Rockefeller here. We had to drop my dad off in Annapolis for some business at the naval base before I kicked off a quick preseason reset. Monaco, St. Bart's, Lake Como. I only agreed to stop the jet if he wired me 2 commas for a wager on the Navy spread. Anyway, if you're not on Navy minus 2.5, you'd probably be the guy to wear Balenciaga over Brioni. But I'm too jet-lagged to overthink it. I just keep looking at that line and thinking about how High Point ended last season losing to my Bonnies, which feels relevant. All right, I'll hang up and let you scholarship kids debate it.
J-Rock, we miss you. We love you. Thanks for breathing lacrosse every day.
So he's saying bet the house on Navy
minus 2.5.
Minus 2.5,
Yeah.
which when I looked at that line, I actually liked High Point plus 2.5. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
pretty high.
I'm a
on
guy
High
who
Point
wears
this
Balenciaga, I guess.
year.
I mean,
He's hell of an offseason.
Yeah.
did High Point played Richmond in the championship in the A10?
I'm forgetting. It could have been St. Joe's. Was it High Point? Did they beat someone?
I think High Point beat St. Joe's in the first round of the conference tournament. I might have to look
Shoot.
that up, but
Yeah.
they were way better than expected in their first year under the fuck's his name?
John Crowley.
Crawley.
John Crowley. Sorry, now I cursed too.
Yep.
John Crowley.
Like a second ago.
way above expectations in year one. They definitely made it to the championship. Now I'm thinking about it. So I'm not taking 2 goals over them. I think they'll probably win that game.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Crawley's ahead of schedule for sure.
Yep.
I took in my pick'em, which we'll talk about. I took High Point plus 2.5. How about you guys?
Yeah, I haven't
did too.
put my picks in yet, but I do like John Crowley a lot. I think he's like the right guy for that program. And I think he did a great job year 1. Excited to see what he's going to do year 2. But Navy's Navy. You know, it's
Right.
I don't know. This is a fun matchup. It's like country club team versus, you know,
You're right.
the military.
It is. Like, High Point is a country club.
They are. They
He's a
they give
legit
you.
country club.
Like those kids' lives could not be more different.
Yeah.
You know, so
Every moment.
And that's exactly what Navy is saying in the locker room before they run out there.
Oh, yeah.
it is.
You know that for certain.
And it's gonna
And
be
High Point.
cold.
Which
Yes.
which
Cold
might
as
get
hell.
them that 3-goal spread, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like when SLU played Middlebury every year. It's the same thing. Not to make a
But-
big comparison, but that's an equivalent.
By the way,
Yeah.
confirmed they did play Richmond in the championship last year.
Thank you. Yes. Good season
Yes.
for High Point.
yeah, we'll see. I like both teams. That's a good matchup. That's just a great week 0 matchup.
It is. Out of conference.
We've been blessed with the week 0 slate. It's pretty amazing.
We have been.
And
Sunday.
the fact that it's January 31st, I don't think is right, but you know.
All right, the next call in we have is from our buddy Crease Dive Kev. Watch out for Crease Dive Kev. He's going to be making some content for us. He's always excellent and on point. He has a take on Georgetown. Let's listen to Crease Dive Kev.
What's up, boys? Crease Dive Kev back for season 3 CLG. Yo, congrats, man. I've been following all along since the beginning. It's been a minute since I've seen you guys. I think last time I saw you guys was the Halloween party. It was fucking awesome. Dan, you looked straight out of Kingdom of Heaven. I really thought I was talking to Edward Norton there for a second, but appreciate the invite. Just wanted to gather your guys' thoughts on a team that I think is criminally underrated. I got the Georgetown Hoyas being slept on. You know, they ran through the Big East last year. They handled Duke in that first-round game and eventually lost a close one to the Terps. You know, Mike, Dan, I know you guys got a hard-on for some sound defense, and I don't think there's many guys out there that are better than Ty Banks. You also got Anderson Moore in net, who's probably the most athletic goalie in D1. They're also returning, an All-American face-off guy. You got 10 guys who had more than 13 points last year, and you're adding Rory and Liam Connor from Colgate. Just curious to see what your thoughts are on this team, fellas. Thanks.
They got a good squad. I think they have a good team. We all remember what they did, specifically what Aiden Carroll did in that game against Duke. That's the only thing that scares me about Georgetown is, they could make a run, but they're going to have a whole new identity. It's going to be someone else. It's going to be these Connor brothers, or it's going to be Ty Banks, who, as he said, we like in different language. But, yeah, Crease Hive Kev, we're excited to work with him this year.
The next call we have is from Johnny. Johnny's trying to give us a blueprint for how to watch college lacrosse when you're married. I feel like a lot of our listeners are dealing with this. So we'll hear from Johnny.
Hey, fellas. It's Johnny Roberts calling in from the South Shore here. Hope you guys don't mind, but I got a little bit of a dilemma that I could use your help with. So the wife wants to head down to brunch at the club at 11:30 on Saturday. I was wondering if you had any advice on how I could message that I would prefer to stay at home and watch Hampton and Mercer in a barn burner, followed by 30 minutes of Aiden McGuire playing whack-a-mole with those offensive middies from Bellamy. Let me know.
That's tough, man. He's fired. That's a true lax rat. He wants to watch the, some programs who.
What do you say to your wife?
Yeah. What do you say to your wife? That's tough, man. As a lax rat, you can't go to the bar and request ESPN Plus or to go on these streaming services, school websites, whatever. So what do you say to your wife?
Where you sit in the club where you could see this TV anyway. Yeah. She probably wants to sit at the big circle table. Right. Make it all about her.
Yeah. You get like the
Can you sit at the bar?
You get like the meta glasses.
The meta glasses.
Johnny Rogers.
Like
get some meta
12
glasses.
screens going at the same time.
Yeah. That's probably the future of watching college lacrosse.
He's just flipping between the games like this. ESPN Plus.
He's looking around with his freaking glasses on.
He's like, what? Using the crease.
That is a just textbook college lacrosse game day, fam. I'm glad he's calling in. Johnny, what was his name? Rogers?
Johnny Rogers? Yeah.
We don't have a great answer for you.
We don't. We
could get a
True
VC box. We invested in one of those. It's I don't know if it's
I think you've
legal,
said I think you said too much. You said too much. Arg. Ladies and gentlemen, our next segment is our CLG Pick'em game powered by, East Coast Dice. We're fired up about this. We have a Pick'em game that's coming. You guys can all sign up. You can create leagues with whoever you'd like. You can join a national pool. Every week we'll have the rankings out. So who does the best Pick'em? Essentially how the game works, we take the top 10 games every week, and you're going to go in and pick the outright winner of that game. That's going to be 5 points per game. And then you're going to pick who wins against the spread in that game. That's going to be 10 points. If you get both right for a specific game, you get an extra 2 points. So it's 17 points for a perfect score. We do that for 10 games. Your score accumulates for the entire week and the entire season. So you compete against your friends. The winner is going to have glory. If you're the winner of our national pool on a weekly basis, so if you have the most points in the world, you're going to get a gift from East Coast Dice. Could be a head, could be a t-shirt, could be a jockstrap. I haven't looked at their website. I don't know what they have. For you listeners who are along with us, we'll have guest pickers throughout the season. Think college football game day. Hopefully sit down with people like Coulter Mackesy, Dan Arestia, Anish Shroff, CJ Curse, you name it. CJ, we love you. Great episode last year. Just a moment I come back to at times. CJ Curse was on this show. Just a special memory. So, Brett, if you want to talk about the partnership a little bit.
ECD Greg, we talked to him a couple times preseason. He was really excited about the idea because every Friday he goes through his picks. He talks about games. He was fired up to help to power this experience, this game that we're going to put out, to really give users a way to interact with our content on a weekly basis, be able to decide, hey, what do I like out of these 10 games? We can have guests on to come and discuss it. Greg will be sending you some form of gear, hat, co-branded merch possibly down the road. So on a weekly basis, you have opportunities to win prizes And at the end of the year, what do you guys want? What's the overall national pool winner? What would you guys want? Give us some ideas. We can share it with Greg. But throughout the season, this segment will be the CLG Pick'em app powered by ECD Lacrosse. So really excited about this. We'll be showing you picks on screen. We'll be making it more interactive, bring people closer, compete with your buddies, create all kinds of leagues and join other leagues. So it's what lacrosse has been missing, and it's just the first evolution for it. So we're really excited to ramp this up and get this in your guys' hands.
So this week we're going to do the slate. I hope whatever you guys have for this conversation is what you put in for Pick'em, because we're going to keep track of the CLG Pick'em and just see how we stack up against our listeners and lacrosse world. So let's be on our game here, boys. First game, we got Hayden. He's going to provide his picks for the UNC at Towson game. UNC is a 4.5 goal favorite.
Yeah, great game. I think a common theme of this week 0 slate is that there's a ton of great games, which we don't usually get in week 0. This is just one of many. UNC is a great team this year. Like, they had something to prove last year, came up a little bit short, but they brought back a ton of guys. And they're going to a really gritty Towson team led by Mikey Weissar, preseason first team All-American. He's a household name by now. This is going to be a good one. I'm interested to see how UNC travels to Towson. Tough place to play, gritty environment. I like UNC winning, and I think a lot of people are going to take Towson plus 4.5, but I'm pretty high on UNC this year. I think they're going to win this by more than 4.5.
A lot of talent in this game, both sides. Towson has a preseason All-American and the German Weissa. Mike, you get the next one. UMass at Army. Army's a 6.5 goal favorite in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Army money line, and the spread was tougher for me. I'm gonna take UMass plus 6.5. I know there's a lot of question marks with UMass. Obviously, we mentioned Greg Cannella retired after 33 years, but this game is historically close, especially in the last 5 years. You got to think with these two cultures, very gritty in the freezing cold at Army, it's going to be a tight game, but I do think Army's going to win.
It's a good take. This one's going to go to me. Utah at Delaware. Delaware is a 1.5 goal favorite in this game. They played last year early in the season, might have been week 0, but it was at Utah. And speaking of broadcast, it was great. It was awesome. Felt like a high level lacrosse game. Two good teams who looked in midseason form to start the year, surprising out of a Utah and Delaware. Not big names that jump out. I like Delaware both with the spread and to win this game. Utah's traveling out to the East Coast. Delaware, they're now in the A10. They're in a new conference. They have a lot to prove this year, so obviously that has no implications on this game. But I like Delaware in this one. I think they're going to have a big season up until they play Hobart.
Next, we have Maryland traveling to Richmond. Maryland's favored by 3 goals. It's Maryland. They're preseason number 1. They bring back Spanos, Urksa, Schaller. I think they're going to be a complete team. Mike's favorite to win the national championship. I'm going to take Maryland. They're going to cover that spread. They'll win by 3 goals. That's my pick.
Rooting for Richmond. Mike, I know you agree.
Yes. Rooting for all A10 teams out of conference.
All day. All right, Hayden, next one.
Next game, Robert Morris at Hopkins. Hopkins is a 10.5 goal favorite. I think the easy pick here is Hopkins to win. This would be a colossal loss if they lose to Robert Morris to open the season. But, the spread, right? So just so you know with this pick'em, right, you only get 5 points to pick the winner because this is easy and most people are going to pick Hopkins. The spread is a little bit different, right? 10.5 goals, that's tough to bet against. That's why you get 10 points for picking that correctly. I think this is a lot of goals. I do think Hopkins is fully capable of winning by more than 10.5, but safe side, I'm just going to take Robert Morris plus 10.5. They're always a gritty team, always have some Canadians. They're always well coached, and they always seem to put up a fight against good teams.
Yeah. That's a big spread, too. 10.5 goals to start the year. Like, that can get covered backdoor easy.
I think so, too.
Mike, Georgetown, 5.5 goal favorites at Loyola. We talked about the coaching changes at Loyola in terms of a coordinator. Interested to get your take on this game.
I'm going the same as my first. I'm going Georgetown money line, but I think Loyola covers plus 5.5. That's a pretty big spread. I'm high on Georgetown. mainly because of their defense. For those who don't know, my father, Steve, another bald man like myself, tailgatesman Hall of Famer, thinks Georgetown's going to go to the national championship.
Wow.
But I think with the addition of Justin Ward, as Hayden mentioned, back at his alma mater, is going to bring some juice. They already had a really good defense, lost a lot of 1-goal games last year. I can't see them losing by more than 5 goals, but I do think Georgetown wins.
I like it. They shocked me at the end of the year. Aiden Carroll, we always knew he was good last year, and he just erupted. He erupted in the playoff, specifically those final few games. And then in the PLL, he starts at attack for the Whipsnakes.
Yeah.
And he's crushing it.
Yeah, Georgetown lost a lot with Aiden Carroll and also Fulton Bayman, their top 2 scorers, but they're always so talented. They always, operate in the portal as well as anybody, and they're reloaded this year. Super talented versus a Loyola team that's hungry to get back to glory. If you look back at 2012, they can do it. They can beat anybody.
They've got a national champion back on the staff who won at Loyola.
Yes,
that's All-American Justin Ward.
Very important. Next game, Providence at Holy Cross. Holy Cross is a 5-goal favorite. Brett, what do you got?
Holy Cross is a 5-goal favorite, or Providence is a 5-goal favorite?
That's got to be wrong.
Providence.
It's got to be
Providence is a 5-goal favorite.
Yep.
Providence returns Richie Joseph. He's a senior. I think he had an excellent year last year. He came up in our conversations quite a bit. Also, a new sophomore campaign, Stone Evans, kind of in the limelight a bit, played for Jamaica in the national tournament. Really excited to see what he does this year. I'm assuming he'll start attack, not sure. But, maybe he comes into himself and has a pretty substantial sophomore campaign for the Friars. Are they the purple punching bag? Maybe. I'm going to say that Providence will cover. Maybe they'll, score 8 goals, Holy Cross. We're going to hope that Providence will cover, get in the double digits pretty easily. So that's my pick. I'm taking the Friars -5.
Brett, you mentioned Richie Joseph. He was the preseason Big East Player of the Year.
Wow.
I don't know if Providence has ever had a preseason Big East Player of the Year.
Wow.
Maybe they have, but he's a stud. Longmeadow kid. They're going to be good this year. Bobby Benson, I think he's in year 3 now. He's been doing a great job with that program, so I like that pick, Brett.
By the way,
Stone
Brett,
Evans.
Oh, you're just Stone. Nail gun name. How to say?
Yeah,
Stone.
Totally.
And he uses traditional.
Yeah, he does use a traditional.
Wow.
He does.
He's a gun. All right, next game. Hayden. Rematch of Colgate's last game of the year last year. Colgate at Penn State. Penn State is a 4-goal favorite.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Colgate lost a ton in the portal, so I think we can expect them to be a little bit down from last year. They were a wagon last year for sure.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of their top point scorers. They do bring back Hunter Druin, number 5 midfielder. If you watch Colgate at all last year, he's a really good player. Super quick. He's a smaller guy, but he's super dense and scores a lot of goals. So he's a guy that could kind of drag Colgate through a couple of these games. Penn State, we mentioned earlier they had some good transfer portal pickups. They bring back a lot of really good defense. They also bring back Hunter Aquino. He's a midi. I think he's a sophomore. He was probably the best freshman midi in the country last year, in my opinion, or at least at times. Penn State does lose Matt Trainer, so finding a replacement for him is going to be tough. But Penn State's well coached. They've been as close as they could be, and I think I don't know if they have the talent this year to get to the Final Four and do it all over again. But this is a Penn State team to keep an eye on. I like Penn State -4.5 and winning the game.
All right. One thing we didn't talk about, you can hedge. So if you're not sure about a winner, you don't have to pick, if a winner corresponds directly with a spread, you don't have to pick both of those. You can switch it up to hedge your bets a little bit, maybe get 5 points or 10 points here or there. But, I'd probably shut up talking about the game and just let people figure it out once they're playing next week. Mike, BU at Syracuse. The Orange are 5.5 goal favorites.
Yeah, I already basically mention my thought process on this, but I'm going to take Cuse money line and -5.5. Cuse's historic senior class, right? All the headlines. They're going to be good this year. Home opener at the Dome. As a Lacrosse fan and as a Hobart alumni, I pray this game's close, and I would love to see BU win. I just don't see that happening. That's going to be a tough opener.
Yeah, it's 20 degrees in Boston today. It just snowed 16.5 inches, and now you're going inside a 75-degree dome. That's brighter than any stadium you've ever played at. So it's just a lot to transition to for BU. But shoot, I'm rooting for them. Like to see them win. So those are our 10 games, guys. We just did it. It's easy. It's really easy. You pick a winner. You pick a spread. You can.
Yeah, this game is not there's no gambling associated with it. There's no sports book. It's completely for fun. Hey, we could say pick the winner every week, but it's kind of boring. So I think having a little bit of adversity, divvy up the picks a little bit every week. We thought that based on our fans and what they asked for, being able to pick against the spread was something that we felt would just add a lot of velocity to the game and excitement to the game. So excited to get out there and share videos, tutorials on how to use it, how to sign up. It should be pretty straightforward, but we're going to post it in our bio. So everybody who listens to this, click the link in the bio. You'll be able to sign up, create your username, and then join leagues or invite others to your league.
Week 0 might be just a rock cut, dry run. You might have a perfect week, but we're going to make a decision whether or not we want to cancel those scores and just start fresh, the whole country on week 1. And if you're late, if you're listening to this 4 weeks afterward, like my extended family probably is, you can start a league right now. This is going to be, you can start whenever you want. You jump in, create a pool. It can go for, 5 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, the whole season, doesn't matter. Start whenever you want. And just to reiterate, it's not gambling. It's not gambling.
Each weekly winner qualifies for a prize. So you could play week 5 and you could still win something from the ECD crew. So let's get everybody on and get testing it and using it. We're excited for it.
What should we do if someone gets a perfect week? So there's 25 bonus points if you get all the winners right. Correct. Which is possible.
10 out of 10 winners.
But if you get 10 for 10 winners and 10 for 10 spreads, what should we do for that person?
They should come on the show.
You get a ticket to Memorial Day weekend.
Yep. You get a ticket and a hotel room to Charlottesville.
Yeah. It's bold. It's bold, but it's tough.
I bet you could probably figure that out pretty easily if you just went in DraftKings, picked all your picks, parlayed all of them. You could see what if you bet $1, what that would get you.
What value? But don't do it if you're underage.
Right. No, it's different. This is not gambling. We are playing a game based on a calculation done by people we have never met. So
if you went 20 for 20 and bet $1, you'd never have to work another day in your life.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it that crazy?
Yeah. You'd probably win over $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe we should try it.
I mean, if I won 10 grand, I wouldn't work another day in my life. Thank you all. We're fired up for this season. A lot more interaction to come. Guests, pick'ems, a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. Don't forget, we got some lax this weekend. So saddle up, get cozy, and enjoy.